In this video, we're going to provide an overview of the PS5 Access Controller. This controller is the adaptive controller released for the PS5 console. This controller consists of multiple parts that may work for someone with a physical disability who might not be able to physically access a standard video game controller. The PS5 Access Controller has a joystick and multiple buttons that the user can access to replace the buttons on a standard video game controller. The joystick can slide in and out, and it can lock into place by pressing and unpressing the lock key on the side of the joystick. The joystick on the PS5 Access Controller can be replaced with alternative joysticks, such as an arcade-style joystick or a standard thumbstick that can be found on most standard video game controllers. The buttons on the PS5 Access Controller can also be switched out. You simply just press into the side of the button, pull it off, and it can be replaced by many of the other buttons that can be found within the Access Controller kit. They have flat face buttons, which are different than the round face buttons that come on the Access Controller out of the box. They also have buttons with longer paddles, which allows someone to access the button from pressing the inside of the button or the outside of the button. They also have buttons that can cover two buttons at the same time. With this one, a user can either press one side of the button to access one button, or the other to access the other, or press in the middle to access both buttons at the same time. This works good for buttons in a game that require them to be pressed at the exact same time and to be pressed in isolation to one another. And then finally, there is another arch button, and this one has a little bit of a higher lip to it, which makes it sit up a little bit higher compared to the other buttons, which is good for someone who needs a little bit of a higher access point when playing their games. Multiple of these buttons come with the PS5 Access Controller out of the box, so the user can customize the button setup to meet their individual needs. And finally, after you program the buttons, you can use these little knobs that come with the PS5 Access Controller to label the buttons as you assign them while you're setting up the PS5 Access Controller.